This is Hannibal from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. I highly suggest you guys check out my review of Hulk Hogan, his rant on Bubba the Love Sponge, discussing Jesse Ventura. I'll pin it to the top of the comments after this. It was more entertaining than any of the Smackdown clips I watched from last night. Ronda Rousey's back. I can't help but think she was really, really hot at one time when she was destroying everyone in UFC. But it did like the specialness of her seems to have gone now. I'm not sure. Well, she's a great athlete and good asset. I don't know what WWE is paying her, but I don't know how much of a draw she is at this point in time. There just doesn't seem to be too much special about her. SmackDown did a 0.6 rating. Paul Heyman on SmackDown informed Jimmy Uso that Roman Reigns doesn't want the Usos to show up at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, and this is apparently the storyline explanation of why Jimmy can't come to Canada because of his legal situation right now. Which, as I said, I'm maybe because it's not. I don't know if it's actually gone to court or not yet. I know he has previous DWIs, and Canada doesn't allow people with DWIs in. But in the past, Jeff Hardy has been here, despite his really long list of criminal stuff. Minor, but still worse than a DWI, which he does have DWIs now too, from my understanding. And Vader had an assault charge to Tonka, from what I recall, had some stuff. So yeah, I don't know why they can't pull the strings, or if they just don't want to bother pulling the strings to get him in. The interesting thing is, I guess Paul Heyman appeared somewhere saying he thinks Roman Reigns should win an Emmy for his character work as the tribal chief. Well, maybe there should be wrestling open to winning Emmys, but the problem with that is if wrestlers could win Emmys, they would then be considered actors and have to go in the actors union, which I still don't understand. They admit the show is scripted. Every move in the TV matches are 100% scripted. Their promos are scripted. They say they're the longest running episodic television show in history, but their performers, because they don't like calling them wrestlers, can't be in the actors union. So they'll say it's a sport in that case, but then they'll publicly say we're entertainers. Someone really should force it to court that they should be allowed in the actors union 100%, particularly WWE, where everything is scripted. I think if NBC ended up buying them, it'd be even harder to say that these guys aren't actors, because then it's owned by like a television company. I guess they would still try and classify it as a sport, even though they call it entertainment. But I just find it funny that we hear they're making more revenue than ever, but there's no union, and we see so many of these older wrestlers suffering from medical issues and stuff, and there's so much bizarre stuff that goes on in wrestling. But yeah, they are actors who do their own stunts, but also the stunt performers that are unionized are in the actors union. So they should be allowed in SAG, or in Canada it's called ACTRA, which I am in, even though I haven't done a crazy amount of acting. I've been on enough to qualify to be in the actors union. But yeah, I find it funny that Paul Heyman saying, I think that could be even used as in a court of law as further proof that they are actors, because Paul Heyman is one of the WWE writers saying that he should qualify for an Emmy. So yeah, they should be in the actors union. There's no question about that. I think if they were to sell to Saudi Arabia, it would be harder to force them to call themselves actors, perhaps. But definitely, if a company like Comcast, which owns NBC, buys them, I mean, someone should figure out a way to legally force them to have to make their wrestlers be in the actors union. And then the whole independent contractor thing is also a load of bullshit because their contracts are some of the most restrictive contracts ever. They're literally that thick. No exaggeration. I've had one. And you have to get it notarized by a lawyer. It's such a complicated and restrictive contract, yet they call their wrestlers independent contractors. I don't know. Other than they make so much money, they can afford great lawyers. But I'll stop that rant. I just find it annoying that they want to say that their wrestlers should have Emmys, but they don't want to call them actors. Doesn't make any sense to me. John Cena, speaking of this, was featured in the trailer for Fast X, which is going to be released this year. He's doing great. Batista's doing great for movies. The Rock's doing great. I mean, wrestling is good practice for acting for sure. Yes, it would set a precedent for AEW for sure. But I think AEW's promos are less scripted, but they're still doing skits. Wrestlers are actors for sure, but WWE is constantly bragging that it's the longest running scripted television show. So how the fuck, if it's a scripted television show, are your wrestlers not actors when they're acting? Like Chelsea Green, for example, I saw one of her skits with Adam Pearce, which fucking sucked in my opinion. Bad acting and unfunny, but like that's clearly a written promo that some writer wrote. Anyways, I don't mean to be negative. I don't understand it. And I was thinking about that when I was doing the review of Hogan Jesse, where Jesse almost got them to unionize before WrestleMania 2, but Hogan supposedly kiboshed it, according to everyone involved. But they should be considered actors, 100%. Wrestlers are actors. They are actors.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not